Let's chat. How would you describe 2015 and for you and your administrative staff, the amount of work that's put into the last year, and how would you describe last year?
Well, last year was a mixed one. It was a lot of ups and downs. We're facing the end of the year in a lot of uncertainty in terms of the economy and the provincial government changes, things like the carbon tax, which we don't know how they'll affect us. It's been a difficult year in that respect, but in spite of that, we're moving towards our community goals and our strategic direction, and some of those projects are going really well. And of course, the biggest is all the amenities for the Canada Winter Games, so that's very exciting.
That was an exciting part of this year. I mean, the announcement of the Canada Winter Games in Red Deer. What does that mean to Red Deer?
I think the Canada Winter Games is a games changer. In terms of the economy, it's likely to bring over $100 million in real benefit to the community. And I think it'll put Red Deer on the map. There's a lot of promotion that goes with it. There's a lot of television coverage. But above all, I think it's the image of being able to stage the Canada Winter Games in Red Deer and welcome the nation here.
With that brings a chance for Red Deer to bring in some amenities or update some amenities and to maybe expand their recreation and their tourism sites.
That's right, and we're also replacing our arena downtown, as well as a number of upgrades, the new long track speed skate at Great Chief Park, and the new amenity at the college, which is a partnership between the provincial government, the games itself, and the city. So that amenity in itself is a real major gain for the community.
With that excitement, that build-up, there's been some challenges through this year. I mean, obviously the economy, things like that. What has been the biggest challenge for you guys as an administrative staff?
The biggest challenge is always uncertainty, and just before the preparation of this year's operating budget, we suddenly learned that the provincial budget, which had actually only been released a few months before, had a download of over $450,000 to the city in terms of taxes that had previously been paid by the province. So that kind of surprise is never welcome. And so we sift through all the information, we try and find out where we stand, and then at the last minute we have to make some changes. But of course, overall, both the province and ourselves, we're facing a difficult economy, and I think the next 2 years are going to be a bit of a struggle in terms of knowing exactly what we can and cannot do, and how to really spur the economy and make sure we're doing the long-range decisions right.
And how do you do that? I mean, because obviously you're relying a lot of it on the province. You're relying on some economics from Canada as well. I mean, there's a lot of things, and internally, how do you spur internal with Red Deer, especially with Red Deer being the heartbeat of Alberta in a sense, where the oil and gas sector and that sector is taking a big hit.
That's right, and we've been through these hits before, but I think this will be a little worse than 2009. And I don't want to be a doom and gloomer. I think the important thing is to be realistic. Now's not the time to do draconian cuts, in my view. What one needs to do is show steady development towards our strategic goals. But what can we do? Well, one of the things we can do is keep taxes low and keep the ratio between our commercial and residential at the ratio that it currently is, which is about 2, which is one of the best for small cities in the province.
You guys, for the last 7 years, have kept taxes, to the point where it's manageable. It's 4%, around that 3.7, 4%. Is that a big thing that you guys wanted to make sure you do? And because I mean, you look through the years, you could have gone higher, obviously, for some of the things that you're trying to bring to Red Deer as well.
Well, the current plan is to keep by guideline below 5%, but we've come in a bit lower than that, obviously, because of the recessionary year. We've come in at 3.78%. But it's important to understand what that's made up of. It's 2.4 actual percent increase, plus 1% for our capital amenity growth, and the third piece is the download from the province of about 3.37%.
So when it comes down to this, I mean, when you guys put all the numbers down on paper and figure out, when you look back and say 2015 is a year where, how would you finish the sentence? It's a year of?
2015 is a year of transition. It's a year in which we are not quite sure where we're going in the short term. We have our long-term eye on the goal of where we want to be. We're building towards the Canada Winter Games, which is very exciting. We're doing a number of major amenity development and infrastructure work. We've got Riverlands at the point of redevelopment in the short term now. And all those building blocks are in place. We're looking at a future annexation in a few years. We're looking at our growth. All those things are positive. So all the building blocks are in place. Now we have to ensure that the economy turns around, and we're only a small piece of that.
With the amount of the stuff that's been going on Red Deer, where there's a lot of contentious issues. I mean, we say contentious, but I mean, there's topical issues, I guess, because Red Deer has never really had those, other since the Cullicut back in the day. We look at now, there's a lot of things that people want to see. They want to see new amenities. I mean, the water, the pool's been a big issue for years. The snow removal has been always a spur in the city where there's a lot of issues. How do you guys deal with those things and break those down? Because obviously you want to please your taxpayers, but you also got to be a reason to figure out, hey, we can't spend this much money on this right now.
Well, of course, it's a balancing act. But what we have to look at is our surveys. The statistically accurate Ipsos Reid survey that we do annually, and in fact, we're doing 2 surveys this year. It shows that the majority of our population feel they get excellent value for taxes, and that's higher than our competitors, shall we say, the other small cities and Calgary. And we also have a majority of citizens and respondents to our survey which feel that a tax increase is legitimate, providing it's used to maintain services. And then, of course, we get the special interest groups who really want to see services expanded. And they're all needed. They're all needed over time. The question is, when can we afford them without at the same time hitting the economy with a major tax increase? So for that reason, we have our 50-meter pool in 2020. We've got a savings plan towards it, which is very positive. So we will have a 50-meter pool. The question is, it's just not immediate, because to bring it immediate would mean borrowing $83 million right now.
And that's exactly it, where people don't understand that, where there's a borrowing issue too, where you guys don't want to do that. You don't want to be going to the bank and then having to owe that much money, just like anyway going to the bank to get in a car.
Well, I think that there's always a misconception around debt. Debt is important to fund intergenerational amenities, but the question again is, you don't want to make that debt so high that it is actually a problem for the community in terms of paying it back. Now, we keep our debt level at the present at about 45 to 50%, and we have a lid on our debt level at 75% of the provincial guideline. So we're in pretty good shape in that respect, and we're also in good shape in terms of the amount that we spend on paying back our debt load. So we've had a net gain in terms of our basic investments versus debt.
One issue that's going to come up, and you guys are talking about this a little bit as well, is, and Mayor Veer has kind of touched on it too, one of the issues that maybe you would be delving into more is the operations for the RCMP. Obviously, because as time grows and this place grows, the need for more officers, the need for more resources are going to be there. Crime and safety is a huge issue in the city of Red Deer, and it's becoming more so now. Because of all the economic changes, and there's a cause and effect there, obviously. But how do you guys respond with this, with that?
Well, we've got a much more aggressive stance from our new police chief, who's been really dealing with the crime in association with the alert. And of course, the alert is under the cutting edge in terms of the province is concerned. And we believe that that funding needs to be restored to its previous levels to help us in this region. We're right on the corridor. We have a demographic, a very young demographic, average age 31, which of course is where the major crime years, as they say. They always say that when you're in the 30s or 20s in terms of average age, those are the crime years where you have a portion of the population involved in crime. And then when you get into the 50s and 60s in average, it's fraud. In any event, we have a crime problem in Red Deer that we are dealing with, and fortunately our 5-year trending in terms of violent crime is being addressed and is going down.
Last couple questions here. I guess we're looking to the future now. We look 2015, there's obviously some speed bumps along the way. How are we looking towards 2016? I know you guys are going to the budget year here, in operating budget in January here, January 6th, starting that up. How are you guys going to prepare yourselves for 2016?
Well, I think 2016 has to be one of those years in which we keep steady, we continue to follow our strategic direction, we finish off the final planning for Riverlands, which is very exciting. We work towards major amenity developments for the games, as well as the new community centre on the North Hill, and we begin to plan in detail the city's growth north of 11A, which is before council at present. So all those are putting the building blocks in place, shall we say, for the next spurt of growth, because we know that will happen. Traditionally, over the years, we've had 82 where interest rates were a problem. 2009 was a small recession. I think we're going to see things begin to resurge, according to the banks, in 2017, and then we can really look forward to approaching the Canada Winter Games back when the economy is stronger.
Last thing, and I mean, when you look at the economy and look towards the future of 2016, people are going to say, what can I expect in the sense of my taxes, what am I going to see, what tangibles will I see? What will we see in 2016?
Well, as far as the operating budget, what we've been very keen to do is to maintain our levels of service, particularly the enhanced snow removal policy that we brought in, continue to maintain the standard of roads that we've been doing the last few years, where there's been a much greater public appreciation of the maintenance, because we were under some criticism about 3 years back. We want to keep our park system as it is, with replacement of trees, etc., as they die. And so we really want to maintain the look of the city as it is, at the same time as growing the amenities that we're building for the games. So there's going to be a significant change in the next few years in terms of those amenities. That's a big plus. And then we need to be steady during 2016, because we're not exactly sure what the future years are going to bring in terms of the carbon tax. We may need to invest more in new technologies to make up for that. We don't know whether it's going to apply for municipalities. As I said, there's a lot of uncertainties, and we have to be ready to weather whatever's thrown at us.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay.